Lange reporting, and our in-depth coverage continues now. Reaction is pouring in to Comey's testimony.
Rhode Island's congressional delegation commending Comey's candor, while Republican leaders want to put the testimony in perspective. Eyewitness News reporter Jared Pliner continues our coverage now live in studio.
Shannon and Steve transcribing conversations, accusations of lying, who said what to whom and when. Today's hearing had all of that and more, and we have some local perspectives now on what unfolded today. Rhode Island's former top federal prosecutor under President Obama, Peter Nerona, calling Jim Comey's testimony remarkable.
He made these contemporaneous memos because he thought the president might lie about the content of the meeting. That sets up a real sharp dispute between who's telling the truth.
Former State Representative Joe Trillo, Trump's honorary Rhode Island chair during the campaign, saying Comey's account needs to be taken in context.
This president chose to fire him. He loved his job, but he's upset.
If you feel like what's being said about you or an organization that you love is unfair and you wait a month to push back or a year to push back, the narrative is gone. So my sense is he felt this need to push back quickly.
It was said today over and over that Comey told the president on 3 occasions that he wasn't under investigation. They're not going to talk about that. And that's basically what the president wanted Comey to come out publicly and say.
And on Comey's account that Trump told him to back off the Michael Flynn investigation, Senator Jack Reed doesn't see it as a presidential suggestion.
It was a direction couched in very careful terms, but clearly the impression that Comey had, and I think anyone would have, was that he was being essentially ordered to do so.
Nerona also interested by Comey's kicking of the issue of obstruction of justice to special counsel Robert Mueller. Nerona noting many legal experts agree a sitting president cannot be criminally charged. What that means down the road, Nerona isn't quite sure. New at 6 o'clock, more insight into the man Jim Comey, and we'll bring you Senator Jack Reed's questioning of him today. Jared Pliner, Eyewitness News.
And Eyewitness News reporter Mark Meredith joins us live now from our Washington, D.C. bureau. And Mark, Director Comey appears to have chosen his words very carefully during his testimony, especially about the parts about Michael Flynn. Now, how does the director say he felt pressured by the president?
Kelly, this is what's so interesting, because we've been hearing these reports in the press now for several weeks, but it is when we heard it from the former director's mouth today there in the Senate with the whole world watching that we learned it was in a private Oval Office meeting that then Director Comey felt he was pressured, that the president said, hey, look, Flynn's a good guy. Don't you agree? And the FBI director said, yes, I think he is a good guy. And so then Comey is alleged to have said that this is still something that he is not really wanting to talk about, but the president said, well, maybe we just let this drop off here for a little bit. Now, the president's personal lawyer is saying this isn't the case and that he certainly never directed or ordered. And Comey says he never felt like he was ordered to, but there was something that was certainly there that Director Comey was not comfortable with, which is what eventually led to what was pretty much the most dramatic moment that we heard during the testimony today. Guys?
Well, so obviously this is not the end of it, Mark. So where does this go from here now?
Well, Steve, this is still going to be an ongoing investigation, not just the one that's happening with the Senate Intelligence Committee, but the one that's also happening over with the Department of Justice. They're still trying to get their hands on several of Michael Flynn's documents. There's still so many unanswered questions. We've heard reports that the committee is getting some material from Flynn's lawyers, but it may not be the whole piece, and this is something that they're going to continue to pursue. Steve, Kelly?
All right, here we go. Mark, definitely something that's not going away anytime soon. Thanks so much from our Washington, D.C. bureau.
Eyewitness News reporter Jared Pliner has been out gathering local reaction to Comey's testimony.
He continues our in-depth coverage live in studio.
Well, Steve and Shannon at 5, we brought you varying perspectives on the Comey testimony. Now more on the man Jim Comey from someone who has interacted with him. Former U.S. Attorney Peter Nerona says he didn't agree with every decision Comey made at the FBI, but here's some of how he views him. As Southern New Englanders watch the Comey hearing shown publicly in places like the Warwick Mall's food court, Rhode Island's former top federal prosecutor Peter Nerona watched a man he'd come across at the U.S. Attorney's Office. Nerona found Jim Comey to be committed and inspiring.
Again, the ideals of the department, what he said to young lawyers when he hired them, before he went over to swear them in, things that really stayed with us.
We asked Nerona if Comey's Capitol Hill testimony could be read as showboating, a departure from former FBI directors' low profiles.
From what I know about the man, I don't see it that way. I can see how people who don't know him could see it that way. You know, it was clear to me from the beginning of his testimony that the president's comments about the director's leadership of the FBI, the state of the FBI, whether it was in disarray or not, troubled him greatly, and he felt like he had to push back.
I also asked Noronha, as mentioned, about Comey's admission he leaked the content of memos on Trump to the press through a friend because he wanted to see special counsel appointed. Noronha called Comey's action, quote, unusual, showing the, quote, extraordinary level of distrust Comey had for the president. Noronha adding Trump could have asserted executive privilege, but given the content of the conversations Comey alleges, that assertion, quote, might be dubious. I'm Jared Planner, Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Jared. And count on Eyewitness News for continuing coverage of the fallout from the Comey testimony on air and online at WPRI.com.